obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Nikunja Rasadas from German town.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Mandaran Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Pooja from Sydney.
Hare Krishna Pooja Mataji, Mandaran Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. So we miss Mataji today. She's gone to India, but it's nice.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
started the recording, Mataji, but I think speaker has not joined yet. Yeah, he's joined. No,
Okay.
it's Rina Mata.
Yeah, I can contact Prabhuji, but should we wait for a couple of minutes or?
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
Let's
we can wait.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
give like 7:25, 3 minutes more, couple of minutes, and then if not, then I will try to text Prabhuji. Yeah, till then devotees can chant. And Hare Krishna, Rita Mataji joined. My Danat Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj ji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
We're just waiting a couple of minutes before we can start the class. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
So Hare Krishna, I think our speaker, His Grace Ram Giridhari Prabhuji is joined today. So Mataji, you starting the recording?
I have started, Mataji.
Oh, you already started, okay. So today on Everyday Chant Harinam conference call, we have His Grace Ram Giridhari Prabhuji from Mumbai. And we are doing a new chapter and we are doing verse 6 onwards. So Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madanat Pranam to you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining and please take over Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. And
Hare Krishna.
As always, this is a wonderful service that you're all doing by regularly conducting these Bhagvatam classes. And it's my privilege to be part of the Sangha to glorify the Supreme Lord. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. This is from 7th Canto 8th chapter. The chapter titled Lord Nrsingadeva Slays the King of the Demons. Text 6. Kruddasya yasya kampante trayo loka saheshwara tasya me vitvan muda sashanam kim balatyaga. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. My son Prahlad, you rascal, you know that when I am angry, all the planets of the 3 worlds tremble, along with their chief rulers, by whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you? Purport. The relationship between a pure devotee and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is extremely relishable. A devotee never claims to be very powerful himself. Instead, he fully surrenders to the lotus feet of Krishna, being confident that in all dangerous conditions, Krishna will protect his devotee. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare boldly that my devotee never perishes. The Lord requested Arjuna to declare this instead of declaring it himself, because sometimes Krishna changes his view and therefore people might not believe him. Thus Krishna asked Arjuna to declare that a devotee of the Lord is never vanquished. Hiranyakashipu was perplexed about his 5-year-old boy could be so fearless that he did not care for the order of his very great and powerful father. A devotee cannot execute the order of anyone except the Supreme Personality of God. This is the position of a devotee. Hiranyakashipu could understand that this boy must have been very powerful, since the boy did not heed his orders. Hiranyakashipu asked his son, Kim Bala, how have you overcome my order? By whose strength have you done this? Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Kruddhasya yasya kampante trayo loka saheshwara tasya me bitavan mudha sashanam kimbalotyaga. My son Prahlada, you rascal, you know that when I am angry, all the planets of 3 worlds tremble along with their chief rulers. By whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you? So, Hiranyakashipu has become restless now. Restlessness is a sign of weakness. Restlessness is a sign that they are afraid. Restlessness is a sign that they will be defeated very soon. In the general definition, there are other reasons why somebody can be restless. We hear from Srimad Ramayana how Ravana was restless. We hear from Krishna's pastimes how Kamsa was restless. And we hear how the so-called materialistic men, materialistic politicians, those who have materialistic agenda, when they come to know that they are going to lose, they immediately get restless. Sometimes we even hear Indra, because of fear of losing his power and position, he gets restless. So Hiranyakashipu, he is calling Prahlad Maharaj somebody who is posing fearlessness. So he is trying to say, hey Prahlad, the whole world is afraid of you. How come you are not afraid? And he is calling Prahlad by names. He is saying that, you are impudent, you are arrogant. But technically speaking, it is Hiranyakashipu who is impudent. It is Hiranyakashipu that who appear fearless but is full of fear. It is Hiranyakashipu who is quote unquote a rascal. It is Hiranyakashipu who is overstepping the power of the Supreme Lord. It is Hiranyakashipu who has self-imposed power, saying that the whole world is afraid of him. In our materialistic conditioned state also, we have this behavior. We get to hear from so many so-called, jnanis or corporate trainers who says that just keep repeating how successful you are. Please keep thinking positive that you will win. You can do it. Yes. So like this, they encourage their students to meditate on. It is partially okay to have that mindset, but without acquiring necessary qualification, without going through the necessary stage of purification, just by somebody saying, you can do it, you can do it, you can win. It's highly misleading. How somebody can win when they are not even prepared? So Hiranyakashipu calling Prahlad Maharaj with names is completely unacceptable. Because it is him who is in that state as he is describing. So, as usual, we will chant this context with some reflections. The first and foremost reflection is this: restlessness is a sign of weakness, failure, defeat. And a devotee is never restless. Bhajapure mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanar Vindare. He's saying, oh mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda. Abhaya Charanara Vindare, which makes one fearless. In Srimad Bhagvatam, first canto, 7th chapter, shloka number 7. while describing about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained, Yasyam vai Shuyamanayam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhaktir Utpadyate Pumsa Shoka Moha Bhaya. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once. The beauty is this word at once. It is not after a few years, after a few lifetimes, after a few iterations. It's not like that. Srila Prabhupada uses sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of Shoka, Moha, Bhayapaha. So, as a practicing devotee, we need to keep cross-checking how much I am restless, afraid about the situation. The point is that if I am a person who is restless, if I am the person who is constantly shivering, if I am the person who is constantly worried about the situations, if I am the one who is so much concerned about my existence, my identity, my name, fame, power, etc. So then I have not understood my Krishna consciousness very nicely. So it is extremely important for us to acknowledge this fact, know this fact, that our growth in Krishna consciousness, our surrender to Krishna is something that is very important. In the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse number 29, in the purport Srila Prabhupada writes, there are two kinds of trembling of the body and two kinds of standings of the hair on end. Such phenomena occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow Gandiva was slipping from his hands, and because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to a material conception of life. So Srila Prabhupada says, even in the transcendental state of consciousness, one may feel, restless. One may exhibit the symptom of fearlessness. So this restlessness and fearlessness are opposite each other. So as a practicing devotee, we all need to understand that Krishna has got a personal touch. Krishna has got a personal attention towards his devotees. That a devotee is absolutely free from all types of fear. So it is important for us to follow in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj rather than in the footsteps of Hiranyakashipus of this world, because Hiranyakashipus of this world may be sounding confident, may be sounding authoritative, may be presenting themselves as, some dictators, may show off their, XYZ skills. On the contrary, a Brahmana, a simple practicing Vaishnava, may be very, very humble and simple. He may not exhibit any signs of, what do you call us? He may not exhibit any signs of authority or, arrogance or anything. He will just operate very simple, but then he has got a very deep understanding about the science of Krishna consciousness that no one can derail him from his understanding. That is why Prabhupada says a devotee is as soft as a lotus petal. A practicing devotee is as soft as a lotus petal and as hard as a thunderbolt. Which means he knows how to keep himself very soft and sane, but if need be, they can go to the extent of even burning the entire universe. In the case of Lord Shiva, when Daksha insulted him, 4th canto, 2nd chapter, Lord Shiva did not mind only because Daksha was accusing Lord Shiva's individual identity. But then 4 chapters later, when Sati was, upset and Sati chastised her own father Daksha and self-inaugurated self, set her on fire, and Lord Shiva showed the most ferocious and most acute step by creating Virabhadra, sorry. So a Vaishnava is as soft as a lotus petal and as hard as a thunderbolt. So hence my first reflection is that the sign of restlessness, the behavioral aspect of restlessness means I have no Shraddha, I have all fear, and I am absolutely, not having faith in the words of the Supreme Lord. This is my first reflection. The second reflection is what Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. He says, the Lord requested Arjuna to declare this instead of declaring it himself, because sometimes Krishna changes his view and therefore people might not believe him. When did the situation arise? When Krishna chose to attack Bhishma Pitamaha, when Bhishma was going to kill Arjuna. Even though Krishna promised before the Mahabharata war that he will not lift any weapons, when Krishna lifted the wheel and started chasing after Bhishma Pitamaha, that's when Bhishma Pitamaha surrendered, because Krishna changed his promise. Krishna gave up on his promise just to protect Arjuna. So my second reflection is that as a practicing devotee, Srila Prabhupada is giving a fantastic directive. And the directive that Srila Prabhupada is giving is, in our Krishna consciousness, whilst we are respecting the Supreme Lord, glorifying the Supreme Lord, it is imperative that we glorify and completely surrender to the Supreme Lord. So much so to the extent that we will be happy to follow the Supreme Lord's dearest devotees and their instructions as our life and soul. In that case, also we will glorify Krishna and glorify Krishna's devotees. And that's the second aspect that I want to highlight. Before people came in contact with Srila Prabhupada, before people did not know the purpose of human form of life, before that, when Srila Prabhupada established the Rath Yatra, they didn't know how to worship deities and etc., things like that. So people were, before knowing all these facts, people are behaving in a bit irresponsible manner. But when Srila Prabhupada gave Krishna consciousness Siddhanta to these people, to these so-called rejected Chaitanya Bhagavata 3 days before, we were discussing. In that, Vrindavan Das Thakura is glorifying, my dear Supreme Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one who is not achieved by a severe penances done by Shiva, Sukadeva, Narada. Even then, it is not possible for us to get audience and blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rather, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is searching for patitas. And he is going and lifting one patita, delivering him and sending him, to the spiritual abode. Jadi toya na koribe patita dekhiya patita pavana nama kishera lagiya. Narottam Das Thakura is saying, hey Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to deliver me. Because you are called Patita Pavana, and who is the most fallen and wretched soul in this world than me? So if you do not rescue me, deliver me, it's insult to your name. Look at the way Acharyas are glorifying Krishna. So my second reflection is that just by we surrendering to a Vaishnava, knowing in turn that this Vaishnava is surrendered to Krishna, we can go boldly, fearlessly, with absolute confidence and absolute surrender to the instructions of the Supreme Lord and say that I am Krishna's. I am part of Krishna's family. I am being directly looked after by Krishna. So as Prabhupada writes, a devotee never claims to be very powerful himself. As Prahlad Maharaj never claimed. As Parikshit Maharaj never claimed. Parikshit Maharaj was a Raja. When he was cursed by Shringi, as a Maharaja, Parikshit Maharaj could have done anything. But he didn't retaliate. He didn't show his power. Rather, they fully surrendered to the lotus feet of Krishna. Being confident that in all dangerous conditions, Krishna will protect his devotee. In all, not some, not important, in all dangerous conditions. That is exactly the argument that Mother Kunti is keeping in front of Krishna. When Krishna was leaving, everybody were crying and Mother Kunti was weeping and said that, my dear Krishna, may we be burdened, may we be overwhelmed, may we be given with so much of problems. And she is further making a statement, the reason that we are asking problems is because you have never let us down when we were in trouble. Probably you never made to all of our happy moments, but in every sad moment of ours, you were there. And now that you are leaving for Dwaraka, it is in our entire family's best interest. I seek that may we be, troubled with more and more problems, which means we will have more and more association of your grace. So hence my second reflection is that to say that how a practicing devotee will always understand Krishna's hand behind everything, and he will always appreciate following in the footsteps of Krishna's devotee, understanding that is how Krishna's mercy is flowing our way. knowing that a Vaishnava is a carrier of Krishna's mercy, knowing that Krishna resides in the Vaishnava's heart, knowing that a Vaishnava, when they are glorified, Krishna automatically gets pleased. So, Prabhupada in 2 lines is giving an entire formula for us to meditate on. So, hence my second reflection is that Hiranyakashipu is not able to comprehend what Srila Prabhupada is trying to explain. Hiranyakashipu is completely baffled that how come this just small 5-year-old boy could have such an arrogance, such an impudence, such a strong, headedness. How? He couldn't comprehend. But then Prabhupada is giving an example how. So we are all blessed souls because we are under the care and shelter of a practicing devotee, who in turn is under the shelter of a Parampara Acharya, who in turn is under the shelter of the Supreme Lord. This is the second reflection. The third reflection is about a devotee cannot execute the order of anyone except the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here we are going to learn a principle of respectfulness versus obedience. Prahlad Maharaj, as we are reading these shlokas, Prahlad Maharaj at no point in time disrespected his father because his father is giving him hard time. At no point in time, I repeat, at no point in time Prahlad Maharaj disrespected his father. Even though his father is calling him as impudent, his father is calling him as rascal, his father is calling him with so many names. But he is still respectful towards him. Not only he is calling him names, he is sending so many things to kill Prahlad Maharaj. In our houses also sometimes we get to hear parents not so happy about our decision of practicing devotees and family members, wife, husband, children, grandfather, grandmother, somebody or the other in the family is upset because we are devotees. So what is being expected of us is, just because that person is not subscribing to Krishna consciousness is not a reason why we can disrespect him. So rather, we need to learn from what we just heard. So we need to learn that how we need to always respect anyone and everyone, and especially in the case of them being a Vaishnava, especially they happen to be our senior, it is important for us to be respectful towards them. And at the same time of we being respectful towards them, we need not worry about their deviant ideologies. So Prahlad Maharaj always respected his dad, but seldom obeyed his dad. He always glorified about Supreme Personality of Godhead at every possible opportune moment. That he's even starting to encourage his own classmates. His classmates got so much so convinced that Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, that they all started to become a practicing devotee, which brought in fear in the heart of Sandra. So the point here is, the second reflection is about how a practicing devotee is always ready to be dependent on the mercy of a Vaishnava, who in turn is blessed by the Supreme Lord's Mirastat. So the principle of being respectful, at the same time apparently not obeying, not necessarily to follow the orders of the Supreme Lord, is something that we should subscribe to. So as a reflection, we want to highlight this point, that how we need to make sure that we are simply executing the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and never ever we will have a requirement to take charge of something else. Janivas Prabhu, in one of the festivals in Mayapur Dham, he mentioned how Srila Prabhupada used to say to him that please look after Madhava very nicely. He's talking about Radha Madhav, he's talking about the deity worship standard. So he said, Srila Prabhupada used to tell him that please look after the deities very nicely. If you take care of Madhava, the god, the husband of goddess of fortune, then you will be looked after by the goddess of fortune. So you will never have dearth of financial trouble if you take care of Madhava very nicely. So Janivas Prabhu was explaining about this, and after that, immediately after that, he gave 1 crore, which is around 250,000 or 200,000 American dollars as a donation to the TOVP from DT department alone. So the point is that as a practicing devotee, when we surrender to Krishna, when we surrender to the process of Krishna consciousness, we may have so much of fear and reasoning that if I do whatever I do, I may be mocked, I may be, called names. But here anyway, Hiranyakashipu is, trying to boycott and trying to snub the boy down. But it's only Prahlad Maharaj who's pushing this mission forward. And Prabhupada writes that a devotee cannot execute the order of anyone except the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prahlad Maharaj, as much as Hiranyakashipu was trying to pull Prahlad Maharaj down, Prahlad Maharaj gave equal attempts of trial to make Hiranyakashipu understand, to make Hiranyakashipu follow what he was following, to make Hiranyakashipu free from the aparad. So that is why when Narasimhadev offered to help Prahlad Maharaj is asking that somehow let Narasimhadev bless his father. So hence my reflection here is about the importance of knowing that I am always supposed to be respectful towards every practicing devotee, every human being, everything, every creational item, because they all belong to Krishna. They all belong to the Supreme Lord. And at the same time, because he is respectful, does not necessarily, as Prabhupada writes, a devotee cannot execute the order of anyone except the three persons of Godhead, because they are completely materially rooted. So they may apparently disobey. Apparently they may disagree. So our disagreement need to be very strongly registered, because if somebody is not saying their disagreement, then it is kind of voluntarily committing crime. It is not that ahimsa is all about that we do not harm animals. Ahimsa is not about not hurting a human. A person who knows the outcome of an action is going to be troublesome, and if he does not take any corrective action, he does not rescue the dependents or the followers from the troublesome situation, he is voluntarily committing crime and he will be equally punished. That's exactly what the Prabhupada says. So, to summarize this point, we need to understand that our surrendering to a lotus feet of great Mahajanas like Narada Muni and great personalities, just by following their footsteps, Krishna says he will protect his dearest devotees, and we need not disrespect anyone, even though we may tend to disagree with someone. Last but not least, Hiranyakashipu asked his son, Kim Balaha? How have you overcome my order? By whose strength have you done this? Jayapataka Maharaj once told a very interesting story. He said when in the earlier days of ISKCON, when Prabhupada and ISKCON needed a lot of financial support, for some time the brahmacharis had to go out to do work, and whatever minimum wages they will make, they will have to bring it to the temple, and that's how the preaching mission was going on. Somehow Srila Prabhupada was able to manage to keep the Sankirtan mission going on. Prabhupada used to make sure that he gave so much of love to his near and dear ones. So they were ready to do anything for Srila Prabhupada. So when these boys and girls, they went out to work, so Jayaprakash Maharaj was doing a janitor's job in a a coffee shop or some shop. So after Mangalarti, after chanting from 6 o'clock till 2 o'clock, he has to do the shift, one shift, and then from evening, afternoon 2 o'clock and night 10 o'clock, one more shift, and then come home and come to the ashram, take shower and do whatever they have to do, and they used to hit the bed pretty late and then get up for Mangalarti, and this was going on for some time, and whatever money they earned, they came to give to Srila Prabhupada. So it seems Jayaprakash Maharaj, because he was regularly hearing Srila Prabhupada's lectures, so he could not hear because of his janitor's job for supporting ISKCON. So he used to regularly keep singing about the Kirtan bhajans and glorify about Srila Prabhupada, and he used to be always happy. So he mentioned that generally as a janitor, people see him as a rank and file job, a low collar job or a blue collar job, and they will always be having some sort of concerns, some sort of some shortcomings in their life, so they'll keep gripping about it. So one day a very rich guy came to this shop. This guy came in a pretty big Rolls Royce car, and he saw the Jayaprakash Maharaj. At the time he was a brahmachari probably. So he was doing a janitor's job, was happily performing the job. So he called. Said, how come you are happy? How come you are able to enjoy? How come you are able to be peaceful? So that is exactly the point. When I am already restless, when I see somebody else being extremely confident, when somebody is being extremely committed to their engagement and not giving up, because of these damkiyans. Damki meaning some sort of a pressure or some sort of somebody superimposing their views. So Hiranyakashipu also had the same feeling. How come? He is not even able to comprehend, because Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, Sare Devatas, they are now so much in fear of Hiranyakashipu. Originally they were afraid of Hiranyaksha, and then they somehow decided to, take help of Krishna, and finally God himself free from Hiranyaksha with the help of Kurma avatar. Now that when Hiranyakashipu also became powerful, everybody is super afraid. And Hiranyakashipu is asking Prahlad, how come you are not afraid? Which means something is amiss. Either you are too small a boy that you are not realizing what you are getting into, or you are too excellent, too wonderful, that we are not able to comprehend. So my third reflection, or the last reflection of this current sloka, is that Hiranyakashipu is baffled. He's saying, Kim Balaha, how come you have got such a strength? Who has given you that strength? So Srila Prabhupada writes in the first chapter of Bhagavatam elsewhere, he says, for a devotee, for a person who is committed to this Krishna consciousness process, Krishna personally looks after the devotee's needs. Ananyas chintayanto mam, ye jana paryupashate. tesham nityabhiktanam yogakshemam bhavami. So Krishna is promising that I will protect what my devotee is, having, and I provide what they are lacking, and that is my, duty. This is Krishna's promise. So when Krishna is making such a promise, when Krishna is giving such a commitment, how one should conduct himself? He says that I give the understanding by which they can come to me. For those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding. And after saying this, he's also saying, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. In Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, he's saying that he will protect what his devotee is having, and he will provide what a devotee is lacking. So it is important for us to, sincerely acknowledge this fact that Krishna is very much part of this. He says, those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack, and I preserve what they are. So, to conclude this point, it's important for us to note that the 6 principles of Sharanagati, one of the principles is Rakshishyati Vishvaso. Anukulyasya Sankalpa Pratikulyasya Varjanam. Rakshishyati Vishvaso. Which means a practicing devotee is absolutely confident. Rakshishyati Vishvaso. What is confident about? That I will never be let down by the Lord. I used to always give this example of a bungee jump. Nowadays, this bungee jumps have become world famous. If you know what bungee jump is, for those of you who do not know, it is a kind of an adventure sport where the participant, with the help of the trainer, jump from a very tall building with all the necessary scaffolding. But it is a little adventurous and it will be scary and people take images about them. But to even get into this act of doing this, one need to have a sincere faith and surrender to that coach. If they don't trust that coach, if they think that the coach is somewhat, let loose character, and what if he is not going to look after me, they will never be able to do that. Similarly, a practicing devotee may always have some reasons or the other, things may not work out in their expected way. Here, Hiranyakashipu is agitated because what he expected did not happen, and something else is happening which he never wanted to happen. So when small Prahlad boy, he's just smiling at his dad, but his prowess, his glories, his position, they are all in one single line glorified. By whose strength have you done this? Which means who is backing you? Itihas gawah hai. Wherever Krishna is, that place will win. Raake Krishna mare ke, mare Krishna raake ke. If Krishna wants to kill us, no one can save. If Krishna wants to save us, no one can kill. So hence, the fourth reflection is about the point of knowing that Krishna is always giving his shelter and protection to his surrendered souls, and sometimes those who are materialistically engrossed, materialistically accomplished, may get surprises when a conditioned devotee is making a significant progress, and that is what the science of Krishna consciousness is. Prahlad Maharaj is not somewhat insignificant, but from the positioning of social ecosystem, Prahlad Maharaj is the son of Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu is a self-man-made god, where he is going and telling that I am the supreme controller, because he thought that the boon that he has asked from Brahma is something sort of making him immortal. So he was absolutely arrogant, impudent, but Prahlad Maharaj in a very humble state of mind, with so much of respect, with so much of care, with so much of love. He just respected his dad, but never obeyed his dad. He was very firm in repeatedly saying how Krishna is supreme personal of Godhead, and Krishna is present all over. Wherever you see, Krishna is available. So these are all some sets of reflections from this current shloka. It is important for us to know that a practicing devotee is absolutely supposed to be fearless, and a practicing devotee is always under the care of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we summarize this particular shloka. We had learned some sets of reflections as always, and this current context is very, very glorious. Krishna explains that those who are surrendered, those who are completely subscribed to the science of Krishna consciousness, nothing bothers them. So we had 4 sets of reflection. The first reflection is about how a practicing devotee is never restless, whereas a person who is losing, one who is afraid, one who is not confident, he is the one who is restless. But he says the other person is restless. That's irony of it. And the second reflection that we discussed is about how the person, sincere devotee, understands that Krishna's entire transcendental blessings are operated through a devotee. So just by following in the footsteps of a devotee, just by following in the footsteps of those who are considering Krishna as supreme personality of God and surrender to him, so that way, Prabhupada explains that the promises made by the devotee, the blessings made by the devotee, the direction given by the devotee is much, much more bona fide, much more assured than what even Krishna can provide. This is some sort of a glorification from the Supreme Lord about Vaishnavas. Though Krishna is Supreme Personal Godhead, there are situations where Krishna made his devotees win, and that way, the second reflection is that those who are following in the footsteps of a pure devotee is very well looked after. The third reflection discusses about the principle of respect versus obedience. Prahlad Maharaj was always respectful, which we are all supposed to be. But in terms of Prahlad Maharaj's, decision, he never obeyed his father because he thought that I have to only execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the last but not least, the fourth reflection is that Hiranyakashipu is not able to comprehend about looking at the situation of Prahlad Maharaj, because the stage that in which Prahlad Maharaj was in is exactly the same state that Hiranyakashipu wanted to be in. Because here Hiranyakashipu is going to try to kill Prahlad by so many different ways. And in no way Prahlad Maharaj could be killed, and that's exactly what Hiranyakashipu wanted. When he prayed to Brahma, he wanted, you see, Prahlad Maharaj is not getting killed even when he is put in the boiling oil, even if he's even if he's thrown from a cliff, he is given to an elephant and the elephant is going to stamp on him. He is given poisonous food, nothing could scare Prahlad Maharaj, and he eventually survived. And that's exactly the state of mind that Hiranyakashipu wanted. But now when he is coming to the terms and realizing that at the end of the day, Prahlad Maharaj has decided, made up his mind, now I have to challenge him. And that's when he is challenging the existence of the Supreme Lord all over. So what Prahlad Maharaj is saying, that I am looked after by the Supreme Lord, and I am a surrendered soul to the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Srimad Narada Muni. So all glory to Srimad Narada Muni for providing, imparting divine knowledge to Prahlad Maharaj, who in turn has taught his friends, who in turn have shared their wisdoms with all of us. So just by we going through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, we will be able to appreciate and apply several aspects of them in our lives. Thank you so much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Pita Gaurav Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. If there are any questions, comments, reflections, we can take it up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my Davat Pranam to you. Shubh ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for sharing the reflections and your insight about this chapter, this verse. Very nice class. I just wanted to ask before I ask if anybody has any question, comments, then they can go ahead to ask Prabhuji.
In the last sentence, I was not able to, hear. Can you please repeat them? There any? Hello, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I mean, the last two sentences was I kind of missed out. Did you ask any question?
No. I just asking if
anybody has questions, okay.
Yeah, if they don't, then I will go ahead. I have one question, but I thought if somebody had any question. Okay, so I just wanted to ask one question, like generally, it's not kind of very much connected, but sometimes, I don't know, these questions come to one's mind and, they create a cloud kind of thing. So like Prabhuji, how we progress in our bhakti, right? Like what happens is as we progress more trouble comes from Maya, like more trouble comes, and then, so sometimes it's very ironical to hear this because, we are progressing in bhakti and more trouble is coming. So, in some form or the other, like Lord will test us or Maya Devi will test us to see our seriousness as we are going forward, because we are kind of going on the opposite direction, like the material world, in the sense that it's like going upstream. So I just wanted to know why that happens actually, and also it's reading from this verse, one thought was coming to me that like this boy is such a young boy, 5-year-old, and how, like, Hiranyakashipu could have he could use such strong words for his son, because that is a very loving age. You give, love to your children. Some of them start going to school that time and they are so tender and that, age. But how Hiranyakashipu was like, somehow had all these negative traits that he, could like, and of course we've heard all that, like what all atrocities he has done. But it's very amazing that he didn't consider his son's age factor as such. So that was just some thought was coming to me, like, I mean, he was so demoniac that he couldn't even have that fatherly feeling towards the son. So yeah.
I'll answer.
Yeah.
I'll answer the second part first.
Yeah.
See, Hiranyakashipu behaving in such a, arrogant manner tells that the nature of this demoniac mentality. The person who can, consider a 5-year-old boy and his behavior a threat for him. So that exactly tells both his arrogance and impudence as well as his fear, because these are all signs of losing, as I said in my first reflection. Just because Hiranyakashipu was expressing his restlessness, sometimes when we are losing, we shout or we have unnecessary, we kind of lose our cool, because we don't know how other way we can express our, fear, because we do not want to show our weakness. At the same time, we want to kind of express. So that's the kind of situation the Hiranyakashipu is. So this exact behavior of what you just said, him behaving in a manner with this way to his own son, establishes his demoniac nature. Now, coming to the reason why practicing devotees suffer, there are plenty of reasons. Number one, he suffers because if he has done any adharma, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. At the same time, dharmena hina, if somebody is, not followed dharma properly, if somebody has insulted dharma, if somebody has offended dharma, then dharma is going to, not spare that person. And the dharma is going to definitely punish that person. So it is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, the aspect of devotional life. People need to understand that dharma eva hato hanti dharmo rakshati rakshita. Dharma eva hato hanti means if you hurt dharma, dharma will hurt you. So that way, that is one reason why we suffer. Second reason why a practicing devotee sometimes, face the suffering or the apparent challenges is also because of his residual attachments are being challenged and Krishna is trying to take them away. Because when you surrender to Krishna consciousness, Krishna slowly withdraw all those things that are obstacle for the devotional life. So some of the materialistic attachments are obstacles, and by Krishna removing them, it may sound that we are losing or we are failing, but actually it is not the case. We are definitely getting more and more blessings because Krishna, all he is doing is eliminating the risks and eliminating the fear and failure quotients. And the third aspect why a practicing devotee suffers or apparently face those challenges. This is something that Krishna wants to use the life of a devotee to demonstrate to the whole world. You see, these devotees, they are so firmly committed to this process of Krishna consciousness, nothing will deter them from their progress. So sometimes Krishna uses such devotees, powerful superlative position to teach us some very fundamental education. So, does it answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. And because, as more seriously we are progressing, definitely we'll get some tests also, because we're living in the material energy, right? So, and just some thoughts coming from your answer. So, definitely it won't be like, since, is it also like, since we're living in a world, called Dukhalaya Masastakam, this material world is like that. So it's not like if we are progressing, then there will be like no trouble. Trouble will still be there as long as we are here. That's why we have to go back to Godhead somehow or the other, right?
Yes.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you so much for the class today.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for wonderful class always. It is very nectarine to hear you. I don't have any question, but thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Also, Prabhuji, from the translation, how he's saying that by whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent? It seems as if he knew whose power it is, but he's just trying to taunt him.
Yes.
Yeah, that you appear fearless, and or he knew that the devotees are fearless and overstep my power to rule you. It's just that he wanted to himself become Lord Krishna, and he thought that, so so much of enviousness and all that is there. So, and it's quite befitting, and it's quite befitting the statement which sometimes you might say that, okay, we should not have negative traits in us, but the point is that the biggest reason why we are here is because of enviousness. So there, his father is a similar way. He's envious and thinking himself on and all. So that's why he's keeping himself away from Krishna. So, we have to be careful, and there's so much to learn from these verses. Yes, Prabhuji.
One day, Yamuna Mataji was making some wonderful preparations, and Srila Prabhupada used to always like Yamuna Mataji's preparation. So, Srila Prabhupada one day called Yamuna Mataji, or maybe he was there in the kitchen when Yamuna Mataji was cooking, said that you cook so wonderfully. Do you teach others about your cooking. So Yamuna Mataji did not have any answer, but some other lady in the room, they said that no, Yamuna Mataji does not teach. So Srila Prabhupada immediately said that you should teach. If you teach others, the enviousness towards the jivas will go away. And one of the reasons for us to suffer in this material world is this enviousness. So when Prahlad Maharaj was trying to share with all his friends about the wisdom that he was blessed with, so when Prahlad Maharaj wanted to share the knowledge, even though knowing that his father is is not going to approve of this, he may be risking himself. That is why a Vaishnava is ready to take any amount of risk, because he knows that Krishna, any amount of risk for glorifying Krishna, let me say that. So that way, by Prahlad Maharaj preaching, he did simultaneously three things. He said that Krishna's agenda will never get stopped and he will take orders from Krishna. Number two, that a devotee is ready to take risk for glorifying Krishna. And last but not least, he is trying to emphatically teach the opponent that don't take these things lightly. They are all very transcendental. So Prabhupada always wanted us to share whatever lessons, whatever realizations that we have to share with others. Just by sharing it with others, we will be able to, what we call as gain more blessings than otherwise. So it's always nice that we get this forum to share our reflections. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for saying that, because there are some devotee Matajis in our temple who cook very simple, nice prasadam, and in about 30 minutes. I mean, simple dal. I mean, if we have other things like, chole, rajma, then of course it takes a little bit, 15 minutes more time, 45 minutes maybe. So, and we sometimes think like this, that it's important for us to give classes, to the youth that come, and the college students who are practically surviving here on, bread only, some form of flour like bread, pizza, and all that thing they have. Because once they can start cooking, they can eat healthy vegetables and lentils and all that. So, and especially when you said about Prabhupada that, he told, and how you connected sharing to, will improve our bhakti and less enviousness. So, and also, like, one more thing is there, sharing is caring. So once, you're sharing, then what happens is that you become humble. Then you don't think, oh, I can cook very fast, in 30 minutes. I'm so great. Inside, we could be harboring those thoughts. So, but once we start, a teacher starts teaching, then, our concentration is more on giving. So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing about Yamuna Mataji. And recently I heard so much about her. Like, she's like Prabhupada recognized as one of the really good cooks. And even coming from being an American body, still, she must have done all the effort to cook like what Prabhupada wanted, like simple food, dal, sabji, roti, and things like that. So all glories to Yamuna Mataji. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, and today actually we miss Shamarasika Mataji, who's traveling to India for some time. And, when devotees go, we feel their presence. In their absence, we feel like little bit, I was also on alert today thinking that Mataji is not there. So, I'm sure less people will join, but it was good that people joined. And, of course, we miss her at the same time. So, there's one person, Madan Mohan Das, Prabhuji. I don't know whether he joined first time, but I was just looking at the list of people who joined. I might be mistaken.
I guess last time also when Samika Rishi Prabhu was going to give class, that Prabhu came.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking if I just wondering if he has something to say, because like we've not heard from him anyway. Now,
Yeah.
maybe next
Mataji, we can at least welcome Madan Mohan Prabhu in
Yeah.
our traditional way.
Hari Bol 3 times. Yeah.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Bol.
So we can end the call today by all of us can pray, for our, a good day today. And also to, beg for forgiveness and at the lotus feet of all the devotees. Vancha kalpatrubhascha
Patitaram Pavane Vaishnavya.
Namo Namah. Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
His Grace Ram Giridhari Prabhuji ki jai.
Jai.
Jai. Hari Bol, everyone. I'm sorry, I couldn't find the button to unmute myself, and I was late. I just saw the message from Shami Kurishi Maharaj last night. That's why I wasn't able to attend. Yeah, I don't know if this was the group that he was citing, but I couldn't find the link. So this was the link that I found. So I assume this was the one because he said it's 6:30 India time.
Yes, Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, every day, Monday to Friday, we have Bhagvatam class. You can join us every day. Of course, Shami Krishi Maharaj gives class, but it's just that like every day we have Bhagvatam session with the different devotees joining. Like now, our next session will be on Monday. And we do have on Sunday Bhagavad Gita, same time, conducted by Mataji and Shanagata Mataji. And but otherwise, Monday to Friday, basically, if you have ruchi and taste in Bhagavatam, then please join us. Yeah. And of course, Maharaj comes also quite often. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji, for the invitation. Yeah. Like, it's just, it's a different time zone for us, right now it's my puja time here. I'm in Alberta, Canada. So we're mountain time, and we also have our Bhakti Sangha group, Bhakti Vriksha. We have Srimad Bhagvatam every month, Sunday and Monday, and then Sirius Upanishad every Tuesday and Thursday with the Edmonton devotees. So that I tried to attend that one too. Like I most likely attend that because it's in the evening time here, and right now usually I start to go to work, and now
Prabhuji, your mountain time means Central USA time.
Mountain time it's
what's the time?
6:34 a.m. right now.
Oh, so like Pacific time.
No, we are before Pacific time because I think Pacific time is 5:34 right now. So we're between.
Sorry, California is 3 hours, so 2 hours. Because I know that Texas, that is 1 hour difference. But yours is 2 hours difference. And still, you joined us, Prabhuji. It must be quite early for you in the morning. I mean, to join, but it'll be nice that we can have your association, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. I'm actually preparing something for prasadam so that I can offer.
Okay.
I was listening while I'm chatting. Okay.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
And Nikunj Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I already sent the verse, which is I think 7 for tomorrow, to our speaker for Monday, and I got the confirmation. So I will continue and I will post also, because whoever is contacting, sharing words, that's what Mataji was doing, right? She was sharing the words, and then she was taking confirmation and then sharing in the group. So I will continue that. So I'm thankful to Mataji when you talk to her, let her know that to enjoy her trip, because we are getting back to my services, and you never know when I will need Mataji's service, when I'm not here. So we're all here for each other. So,
Yes, Mataji, thank you.
Yeah. And someday there's a situation where I'm busy or something, then I will inform you or Puja Mataji.
Definitely, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.